The Five Nights at Freddy's games are challenging to say the least, but the challenges that are set high above the rest are what are called max modes. These are modes in the FNAF games that are usually extremely challenging and require hours of practice to conquer. The first of which in the series being 420 mode of FNAF 1, where all 4 animatronics are set to the highest difficulty of 20. This is the second video in a series where I'm going to be breaking down and beating all the main games and their max modes. In the last video, I beat 420 mode, which, trust me, is nothing compared to what's to come. We're just getting started. Hello everyone, and welcome back to my channel. In this video, I'm going to be breaking down the second game in the FNAF series, Five Nights at Freddy's 2. FNAF 2 has a lot more going on than FNAF 1, so this is probably going to be a bit of a longer video. But let's talk about Five Nights at Freddy's 2, along with its max mode, Golden Freddy mode, more commonly known as 1020 mode. I won't be going into as much detail as the last video on the core mechanics that have remained the same since the first game, so if you want a more comprehensive breakdown on some of the series' core mechanics, then you can check out my last video on FNAF 1. But just in case, I'll give you a quick rundown of the series' basic mechanics. All the animatronics move using the movement opportunity system. On each night, each animatronic has a given AI value and will have a movement opportunity after a set number of seconds. Once this happens, the game will generate a random number between 1 and 20, then compare it to the animatronic's AI value. If the animatronic's AI value is greater than or equal to the random number, the animatronic will move. With that out of the way, let's move on to the basic mechanics of FNAF 2. Five Nights at Freddy's 2 is commonly referred to as the second hardest game in the series. This is because there's a lot going on compared to some of the others in the series. In the first game, there were only 4 animatronics, where in this game, there's 10, hence 1020 mode. This game doesn't have a power mechanic for the building, but instead a flashlight that can be used against certain animatronics. If the flashlight's power goes out, you will not be able to use it for the rest of the night. There's also no doors to prevent the animatronics from getting into your office, but instead a hallway in front of you that you can flash to check for animatronics. There's also vents on either side of the office that you can check with the lights which don't use power. If you flash the hallway and the flashlight's not there, this means the animatronics are there, you just can't see them. The animatronics can either come into your office through the hallway or the vents, both of which are blind spots on your cameras similar to the first game. If they get into your office, you have a Freddy mask you can put on that will make them leave if you put it on quick enough. If there's an animatronic in the vents, you can put on the mask to make them leave. Specifics on how this works will be talked about later. There's also a new mechanic in the cameras called the music box, which you have to keep wound the entire night or the puppet will jump scare you. Now let's talk about the animatronics. In FNAF 2, there are 10 animatronics: Withered Freddy, Withered Bonnie, Withered Chica, Withered Foxy, Balloon Boy, Toy Freddy, Toy Bonnie, Toy Chica, Mangle, and Golden Freddy. Some animatronics will enter your office through the hallway, then cause a blackout sequence where you have to quickly put on the mask, and others will just come from the vents. These are blackout animatronics and vent animatronics. For any blackout animatronic, when you flash the hallway and see them, you actually don't need to do anything until they're in your office. When an animatronic is in your office, you need to quickly put on the mask and wait for them to leave. If you don't put on the mask in time, they'll jump scare you. An animatronic can enter your office when you put the cameras down, or they can force your cameras down if you wait too long. If you see an animatronic in the vents, if you put on the mask for 5 seconds, any animatronics that are in the vents will leave. They can leave before 5 seconds, but 5 seconds guarantees that anything in the vents will go away. This is going to be very useful in the 1020 cycle later to get rid of all the vent animatronics at once. By the way, Mangle works differently compared to the other vent animatronics. When she's in the vent, she'll make a loud garbled radio noise, meaning you know she's in the vent if you listen to her sound. If she gets into your office, she'll stay at the top of your screen, and now every time you flip up or down the cams, she has a chance to jump scare you. Withered Foxy and the puppet work completely differently to the rest of the animatronics. Foxy will move from parts and service to the hallway, but will not enter your office. Instead, you have to flash him with your flashlight repeatedly to make him leave, which can sometimes take a while. This means that when you flash the hallway, if the flashlight isn't there, Foxy can still be there even though you can't see him, so don't stop your flashlight rhythm and keep flashing him even though you can't see him. If you don't flash him enough, he jump scares you. The puppet is in the prize corner, and you need to wind a music box the entire night to keep her at bay. If the music box runs out, you'll hear music in the cams and the office and get a warning sign in the bottom of your screen, meaning that the puppet can now jump scare you. By the way, remember to flash the prize corner when you go to wind the music box, since this can sometimes stall the puppet just long enough to wind the box a bit more, which can narrowly keep you alive. Golden Freddy is the easiest to deal with of all the animatronics. If he spawns in your office when you flip down the cameras, just pull on the mask before he jump scares you. The strategy I used completely optimizes Foxy, the puppet, and all the other animatronics. Now let's move on to how I beat 1020 mode. When 1020 was originally beaten by Oleg's FNAF, there were a couple things that stood out from the base game strategy. One, that when dealing with a blackout animatronic, he would buffer the mask so you could take it off in the first possible frame to allow for more time to wind the music box. When you wind the music box, you can hear this sound effect. He used this to measure how long he should wind the music box for, which he did for around 6 ticks per cycle. This theoretically really helps because you get more time to wind the box and it can flash Foxy faster by taking off the mask quicker. But there's actually a more optimal strategy to beat 1020. Originally, the strategy I used to beat the first 6 nights and the challenges was the same I used for 1020. This is the right vent camp strat. Normally, when you flip the cameras down, you check for any vent animatronics, then deal with them by putting on the mask for 5 seconds to completely get rid of them. The right vent camp strat relies on the timing of the blackouts. A lot of this information is borrowed from the Bones5's FNAF 2 video, so if you want a more comprehensive breakdown on how the code of this game works, I highly recommend checking out his video after this one. When a blackout animatronic enters your office, the blackout actually lasts 4.25 seconds, meaning if you wait an extra 0.75 seconds before taking off the mask after a blackout, you can get rid of any vent animatronics while doing the blackout. This basically means wait until about this much of the office is visible through the mask before you take it off. This means don't buffer taking off the mask as soon as you can, since this can allow vent animatronics to jump scare you. This completely invalidates the left vent, since if there's an animatronic there, they'll move when you're dealing with a blackout, meaning you just have to camp the right vent for Toy Bonnie. If you flip down the cameras and there's no blackout, then you do have to check both vents. If there's a vent animatronic, then flash the hallway and put on the mask for 5 seconds to get rid of them. Before you put on the mask or take it off, flip up the cams or are checking the vents, make sure you're flashing the hallway when you're doing it to keep Foxy at bay. At first, when I was using this strategy, I struggled a lot with Foxy. No matter how much I flashed the hallway, I always ended up not flashing him enough and getting jump scared. I also struggled a lot too with this guy. Let me tell you, what they say is true. Toy Bonnie is the hardest part of this game. This is because he's a combination of a blackout animatronic and a vent animatronic. Waiting in the vent for a while, then entering your office for a blackout sequence. The chances that he leaves are, of course, completely random. He normally has a 50% chance to leave the vent every half a second when the mask is on, but only if there isn't a blackout active, which in 1020 is not very often. When there's a blackout active, this chance decreases to 1 in 3 every second, meaning that you can wait so long for Toy Bonnie to leave the vent, and he just won't sometimes, allowing the music box to run out. These two were a roadblock for my first couple attempts, but I wasn't gonna let that stop me. After failing with the strategy for a while, I did some research and found a new strategy that seemed to play to the game's mechanics a lot more than the right vent camp strat. Let me introduce you to the true optimal strategy for FNAF 2. This strategy takes advantage of the animatronics movement opportunity system. The main thing that sets this strategy apart from the right vent camp strat is the inclusion of a timer. Since the animatronics operate on set time intervals, then using a timer, you can accurately predict and play to these intervals. If you start a timer at the start of the night and flip up the cams on every interval ending in 1.5 and flip down the cams to check the office on every 5.5 interval, this avoids Foxy's kill intervals while giving you enough time to wind the music box. When you flip up the cams, wind the music box until the next 5.5 interval, then flip the cams down and deal with any office or vent animatronics while flashing Foxy. If there's a blackout when you flip the cameras down, check the right vent for Toy Bonnie. You want to line up getting rid of any vent animatronics with a normal 5.5 interval for blackouts to stay on cycle while avoiding Foxy's kill intervals. So if Toy Bonnie's there after a blackout, wait until the next 5.5 interval while flashing the hallway, then put the mask down and wait until the next 1.5 interval to flip up the cams to wind the box. This This works because you can guarantee any vent animatronics will leave if you put on the mask for 5 seconds, which means you can stay on cycle since a blackout and getting rid of vent animatronics take around the same time. If Toy Bonnie's in the vent and you have the mask down for a while but he hasn't moved, then flash the hallway a bit and then put down the mask again so Foxy can't kill you when you're waiting for Toy Bonnie to leave. However, sometimes Toy Bonnie can just ruin your run, unfortunately. One of the reasons you want to flash Foxy so much between each camera flip or mask use is because Foxy can only jump scare you when there isn't a blackout happening. So if you flash him before you flip up the cams, when you're checking the vents or waiting for any vent animatronics to leave in the mask, Foxy can't jump scare you nearly as easily as in other strategies like the right vent camp strat. This is also why you want to stay on cycle as much as possible, as when you're out of the cycle, it allows for more opportunities for Foxy to jump scare you. If you're forced to go out of cycle for something like Toy Bonnie, then try to get back into the cycle as fast as possible to stay safer from Foxy's kill intervals. I was also forced to get out of the cycle a couple times due to Toy Bonnie. If Toy Bonnie's there after a blackout and you missed the previous 5.5 interval, then you have to wait in the office while flashing Foxy until the next interval to flip down the mask, which can be scary since that gives a lot of time for the music box to run out. But if you can get back on the timings and Toy Bonnie's in a good mood, then you should be able to flip the cams up again and just barely have enough time to wind the music box before it runs out. Let me tell you guys a short story. I originally played the first 5 FNAF games a couple years ago when I got them on my Switch, and I didn't get past the 4th night in any of them, and I didn't even get past the 3rd night in FNAF 2. But now, I was finally gonna get the farthest in this game than I ever had before, and beat the mode that I couldn't have even imagined beating years ago. 1020 mode. Yes! Yes! Let's go! Oh my god. Oh. Oh, holy crap. Yes. Holy crap. That, I don't know how long that took me to beat, but yes! Yes! Let's frickin' go! Yes! I beat Golden Freddy mode. I beat 1020 mode. Yes, dude! Yes! I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Really quick, I want to apologize for this video taking as long as it did to get out. This video should not have taken me 3 months. But you know what? It's out, and I'm happy that it's out. And another video in the Vanilla FNAF game Max Mode series. The series is not over, despite how long it may have taken me to get this video out. It is still going. The series is not going to stop. I'm going to keep going with this. I'm not stopping it. Hopefully, the next videos will come out quicker than this one did. And hopefully, at this pace, hopefully I finish this series by the end of the year. Maybe? Is it too much wishful thinking? But yeah, hope you guys enjoyed this one. My FNAF 3 video should not take as long as my FNAF 2 video. Like last time, the raw proof of me beating 1020 will be linked in the description, as well as any sources I used for this video. Bones being a crucial source for how I discovered these strategies in the first place, so huge credits to him, and I can't wait for the future of this channel. I have some big plans, hopefully soon-ish. 2 down, 3 to go, 5, I can't count, I'm freaking dumb.